So yes, I started a new world, a new place here in Minecraft. And yes, we were already only 2 episodes into our Let's Play series. But here's the thing. You see, when I started that Let's Play, the most recent one, I wanted to take things a little bit more slow and just kind of enjoy the game as I went. But as I was playing, it got me thinking a little bit about my YouTube journey and how things started. And I started thinking about the first episode of how I said I wanted the goal, a big part of it, to become a better builder. Yes, I've grown as a builder, but I also have gotten away from that goal a little bit. Instead, I've stuck to the same old grassroots of building with spruce. I know. I'm chopping a bunch of trees down right now, and yes, we are going to build our starter house with this, but I really haven't changed or grown much. So, what I want to do with this series is I want to record as I build and talk through my building as I go so I can show y'all my thought process behind some of the builds that I make, and then we can also sit here and consider what kinds of things can make us a better builder. Now, with all that being said, there still will definitely be some Let's Play elements to this, as I'm going to go on adventures, going to be exploring, going to be fighting the Ender Dragon and the Wither, because those things are going to be great for getting materials, for building things, and for growing our world here. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to fast track either of those things. The Ender Dragon and the Wither will wait for a good episode when we decide to take care of it. But for now, our goal is to build. We gather resources, build, and continue on. Now, the other thing is this also means that our better Minecraft streams may be over, as well as long plays on that other world that I created for long plays, because I want to direct all my content to this one world. So if you're watching a long play, you're watching a stream, or you're watching a Let's Play, it all is kind of contiguous and it feels more meaningful. So with that all being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the direction that our channel is going in. Also, don't forget to twist that like button and dig the subscribe button if you're new. Always appreciate that. For now, I think our main goal is to figure exactly where we want to build our starter house and gather the materials that we want to build it out of. Now, I have been playing for a couple hours already because I was still trying to figure out exactly what to say and, honestly, where I wanted to build. So let me show you a little bit of what we've already got. We got a bunch of these items in here. We got diamond, we've got emeralds, we've got enchanting potions, lapis, gold, a bunch of other great stuff. We actually spawned in a jungle, which was fantastic. So once we get some string, we'll be having some scaffolding, which will greatly help with our builds. And something else you may have noticed when I open this chest is we do have a couple of villagers in here. You might think that I'm cheating. And, well, yes, it kind of is, but villagers are always the thing that's the most difficult to work with in any Let's Play or playthrough of Minecraft. So I decided to go ahead and install Pickable Villagers mod just to get things taken care of, so I'm not worried about having to move villagers and dealing with their artificial stupidity. Yeah, I know, it's supposed to be AI, artificial intelligence, but no, there's no intelligence involved. Along with building up a starter house, we're going to need a food source. Now, I've heard plenty of chickens clucking, and I've seen a few cows, so I'm not too worried about getting animals. I think that's going to be a cinch. But planting and growing farms here is going to be difficult, because with the snow, I know that my water is going to freeze. Without further ado, I know that you guys don't necessarily want to watch me gather all this wood and just talk your ears off about animals and needing food and things like that, so I'm just going to jump to the next part of the episode. And here we are. We have a lovely little hill to build stuff on. I've got a bit of a farm going over here, and I removed a bunch of trees from the area, and of course, removed some dirt. There's a bit of terraforming we still have left to do because this looks kind of funky here, but then I also want to get started with the base and the outline of the build, which is exactly what we're going to get started with right now. There we go. We have ourselves a beautiful foundation set up here. And as I built the foundation, this is what I was thinking. I thought about building more on a odd number of blocks, starting with this block all the way over. It should be about 11 blocks. And then here we came in just a little bit to create a bit of a smaller room off to the side to make the shape a little bit more interesting. Building in squares and rectangles kind of gets boring after a little while. The other thing I wanted to do was add a bit of an entrance, and that's why I added this porch area here that's, well, it's not quite a porch, and you can tell because there's no roof. The next thing I considered were the supports for the wall and the roof, but in order to continue building from here, I need to consider things like where my stairs are going to go, what kind of space I want this smaller room to be used, how I want a chimney to be built, and where I want everything to go, whether I want a second floor for a bedroom or what kind of roof I want built. And what better way to think about that than to go ahead and start building and thinking as we go. One quick thing that I'm thinking about here is pulling this down at least a block, maybe another block or so. I'm not quite sure just yet because I want this to only be part of the first floor. So the roof is just going to go from here to wherever the wall is. So that's my one thought there. Another thought is if we grab a bit of our spruce, turn it into planks, and then start placing it around, what are our thoughts? Now, this is going to be a bit more of an entrance here, so we'll block it off a little bit so it shapes up a little bit more kind of like a bit of a porch. And we'll carry it around all the way through the back and kind of corner off our area here. Now we got a bit more of an idea of what kind of shape we're working with since it's built up a little bit and we've cut this area off, and we can start planning a little bit of where maybe we want some windows to go. Now we have a bit better of an idea of what we want to go on, and here I believe would be a great place to start lining out for a fireplace, which we can do a bit kind of like this. And that way we know somewhere in this area we're going to build up a fireplace. So the windows have been planned out. I went around and thought about exactly how I wanted them to go. We got a couple of double wide windows here, a single wide window there, which initially I had a couple of other windows there, but then that's where I decided to put the stairs and didn't want the windows to be blocked by the stairs, so I just put the stairs there. Got another window here, which actually may get covered up. I'm not quite sure. Depends on what we decide to do with under the stairs. So as you come in, you'll see the fireplace. We got a nice fire going, make everything nice and warm in here. And then you will see that the stairs go up to the second floor already, which is non-existent. But then the next thing that we want to do is figure out a little bit about where the floor is going to go, whether it's going to extend the whole way across, only a part of the way, or be a different kind of weird shape. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that this area over here is going to be a great spot for some early game storage. We can put some barrels, maybe some chests and things like that, and that'll give us a good way to make sure that we have plenty of storage, but it's also going to keep it small, so it'll make us want to move out of the house and build other buildings. Here at this point, we're going to create a roof that goes up to this layer of wall here, maybe just a little bit higher. And then, of course, on top, the plan is to grab a bit more of the regular spruce and come around the top here to give it a little bit more of a dividing line and separate the top from the bottom and make it clear which section is what. Now, the interesting thing that I'm thinking about here on the outside is that it is a little bit flat. It's a little flat. Well, what we can do for that, and I gathered a bunch of spruce leaves earlier, is we can add some bushes around the area here, and then adds a little bit of a layer of depth. We have the natural porch here that's going to work out really well for us in that favor, but the leaves definitely look great as bushes, which we can actually also add around the house. Some regular berry bushes. That wasn't right. Some regular berry bushes, which will eventually grow and give us a spot of color. And now that we've got some bushes around the place, it has a little bit more depth, a little bit more life, and everything looks so much better already. Now, I do wish they were oak leaves. I think it would look a little bit better because they are brighter green, but we're also taking into consideration the biome that we're in, which is a snowy taiga, and we've got to make sure that we build a little bit with that in mind. Speaking of things in mind, we're going to need to collect some sand in order to get some windows. So I'm going to do a little bit more resource gathering, make sure I have all the resources I need to build this house, and I'll get right back with y'all in just a sec. Okay, so some more thoughts of what I've been working on. I put the border all the way across the top. I think it looks good. It's going to be a nice divide for the first to the second floor. We put in a door, and I like to set it in back like that because it does add more depth to the build. Use window panes instead of windows, or glass, I suppose. And then up here on the ceiling, I used slabs for the floor above, and then I brought down a spruce log to go across because it adds depth in the ceiling here, and I tried to keep it fairly, well, even and symmetrical. It kind of worked out pretty well. I mean, it does add, there's a couple there, but then it is the same over here, so I think it works pretty well. Over here, we're going to do storage, like I said before. We got a bit of snow here on the ground. We may do a bit more storage here underneath the stairs just to make it a useful space, and then in the corner here, we may have some sort of kitchenette area. I'm not quite sure. We may just leave it as is, put some decorations around. And up here, it is unfinished. You can see the roof over here. It's just a simple spruce slabs and cobblestone slabs mix which I think actually works really, really well. The cobblestone helps set the slabs off from the rest of the roof, so it makes it obvious that it's different. Now up here, we want to change things up a little bit. We want to, yes, leave the border around to an extent. We may come in and cut some of the border off, or we may leave it as is. This is something that I have to think about because it's, it's a bit of a struggle for me building up on the second floor and making things look a little bit more unique. I typically just let the roof do the work, but I do think, well, I don't know, maybe we leave this as a room, maybe extend it out a little bit, use the porch area that we have here and make a balcony. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it a little bit, and yeah, I'll get back with y'all in just a sec. So the roof of most builds, that's the most difficult part of any build for me, at least. It's proven to be true in this roof as well. Now, I've spent a bit of time. I designed a little bit of a roof here. I was looking at some other builds online just to kind of get a reference point, which, hey, if you really want to become a better builder, it's a great way to learn how to build certain things in certain ways. So what we got going on here is I pulled the roof out a little bit here with an outline of the cobble and did some supports here for the porch that we got. And we're going to end up shooting the roof up real high here. And probably what we'll do is about this level, we'll maybe fill it in just to kind of give it a little bit more of a flat feel for the porch and a little bit more protected. I'll look into it, see what I think as we go. Now, as you come up here, you see that the roof turns. It's not just one direction. It's not going to all be coming up this way and meeting at that point. Although there will be a meeting of points in the middle, the roof also has the side parts that, as they turn, become something new and different. So what we're going to do is remove these blocks here and kind of shrink in a little bit on the second floor here with the roof. And then we'll come across here with our spruce stairs. In fact, here we will also turn on the second level, kind of like so. And this is how it's going to look going all the way up to the top of the roof with the border of the cobble and then the spruce going up to the finish. The main different portion of the roof, besides this little flat roof right here, is this back side, which involves the chimney, which is going to go right there. It's going to be a little bit more flat and flush and go more in line with the side borders here than it does repeating the front border right here. Now, I think this roof is going to turn out looking really, really cool. So I'm going to take a quick minute. I might throw this into a little time lapse. I think that might be kind of fun. But I got to grab some more spruce wood and maybe a bit more cobble to finish this out. So let's kick this into a time lapse now. Well, sometimes when you build something, it turns out you don't really like the way it looks. Like this. Now, the shape? Oh, the shape is great. I love the shape. Things I would change. This right here looks a little weird. Maybe put more of a border around it, like the spruce logs there. And then I think I would change the color of the planks for the roof to dark oak, which fortunately I did get some dark oak saplings and some dark oak wood when we first spawned in, because we spawned near our jungle and a dark oak forest, which was absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to take a moment here and switch it out, see if I like it, and we'll get back with you when we make a decision. Oh, yes, this. Now this looks so much better. What do you guys think? Oh, right. Give me just a second. Here we go. Free cam, and we can take a look around. I think everything looks really, really solid now with the different color with the dark oak there. I think it frames out really, really nicely. I do need to come back here and fix this spot right there because it's not what it's supposed to be. But other than that, that looks really good. I am quite pleased with what we got going on. Put a little bit of slabs here to kind of help spawn proof a little bit, and then of course we use stairs and the whole blocks to be able to make the roof shape. The only thing that I find problematic with the way this is built is this cobble here. I'm not entirely sure if I like it or not. It's fine. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions for making it look a little bit better, let me know down in the comments below. So yes, we're going to come in here. The interior is the next thing that we have on our list, because when you walk in and all you have is a fireplace and some lanterns and some support beams, yeah, it looks nice enough, but there's got to be a little bit more to it. I know we said we're going to put like a storage room over here, but we've got stairs that have no support, empty entrance area. And then, of course, we have this room up here, which really doesn't have much either. Speaking of which, I'd like to fill this in here to give it a little bit more of a flatter texture. And then we may also fill this up here a little bit to be able to use this space a little bit more effectively also. So for the interior, here's what I'm thinking. We put a few barrels, say, in this area here. Give our stairs some support, and it gives it a opportunity for storage. And then we can put a few here as kind of some decorative storage as well, and pop down a chest in this area just to kind of have a different way for storage to look. Before we decorate with anything else though, I'm going to move all of our storage into the house and the bed as well, just so we can have a better idea of what we're working with. All right, well, now that we have all of our inventory moved in, let's take a look and see what we got going on. I've got a bunch of plants here, a bunch of different items in each of these barrels, each organized in a particular way. Generally, I've got dirt in this barrel here and then diorite in that barrel there. So we're separating everything out pretty specifically. And then we've got a barrel full for food here, tools up here, and then again, we're separating out everything else pretty specifically, except we have gold and iron mixed in there. Up here, we don't have a whole lot going on yet. We just got our bed and then a chest up here with our valuables. Got emeralds, diamonds, lapis, some villagers, and everything else going on here that we would need. That's basically what I've got going on so far. I think the next few things that we need to work on are just some of the more fun decorations that aren't exactly meant to be efficient or usable. I gotta say, interiors aren't, well, they're not really my strong suit. I did a bit of work. I think it turned out okay. It does look nicer. We've got a few flower pots that are a bit larger than they really should be. I was struggling to find clay, so don't judge me. And then, of course, we've got our storage room. We've got a few plants over there with their composters. Put some ferns in the same kind of flower pot that I put the flowers. Got a couple of couches here by the fire so you can stay nice and warm. Got a bit of a mantle. I'm still considering whether I like it or not. It's growing on me, so I think it looks pretty good. And then, of course, we've got some things up here, mostly just some plants and my bed. I got some carpet. There are no sheep in this area. It took me forever to find the wool to be able to get this carpet. I'm gonna have to go sheep hunting or something later. Now there's one last thing that I want to add. I did a bit of changing around here. Oh, look, there's a fox. I added some walls on the side here. We may or may not leave them. They might grow. We might grow our area, so we might want to move them. But then over here, I've got a bit of a protected garden area that I'm trying to use this lantern here to keep the water warm enough so it doesn't freeze. And then of course we've got all of our crops growing, and you know, it looks pretty good. I think I really like how everything's turning out. Yeah, I think this is going to be a great start to our new series. And the next thing that we do will probably be a stream or maybe a long play on this world of just exploring and trying to gather some materials for decorating and for building as well, because we are limited. This is just a starter house. So thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.